right, you guys, welcome to Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Tomorrow in our Pathfinders group, we're going to be talking more about living in the 5D and what that means, whether more tech or more nature, more going away from society or more sort of embracing it is going to be the thing. We'll take a look at that. We'll get some channeled advice about that. Okay, for everybody. And astrology, we're going to look at some pretty big things this week. I am going to talk about some cycles impacting us from Venus in retrograde. That's a really big one right now. And some of the other things that are happening. So grab on if you want to understand how the things that are happening that everybody's talking about, like, oh my God, these years are so crazy. You want to understand how they're impacting you personally, jump into my astrology group and you can ask questions and everything. All right, let's see what's going on for the collective today. What is happening for us right now? Valiant courage. That courage card has been coming out a lot. Take action with passion. Traveling lightly. There's one vote for being in nature more. Begin now. Take your first step. All right. And grounding, go deep, explore your roots. So this is all about nature. This is about embracing. Sometimes I talk about earthing, which is a practice of putting your feet in the ground and really feeling your connection to Mother Earth. There's definitely something that is, when we've been talking about the 5D, we've been talking about living in the 5D and how the 5D and the 3D are kind of separating. And what does that mean to live in the 5D? And actually, I feel like one of the things that's going to be more and more obvious to us is how much more important nature is going to become to us, especially those of us on the spiritual path. And really embracing Mother Earth and Gaia, how that is going to take sort of a precedence over a tech world, a completely tech world, kind of a dystopian. Now, you could also say that tech world could be something that really benefits humanity. I'm feeling the current trajectory, it's taking advantage of humanity, or it's taking humanity down, or it's what passes for intelligence these days is how good you are with technology, which I'm not sure is really an indicator of intelligence at all. But utilizing technology, there's a balance, right? Utilizing technology to your benefit, using AI to get yourself going on a writing project, right? Just like seeing what is written, ask the question, see what is written, and then you can use some of that information or go deeper or whatever. You can use it to your benefit. But when it kind of takes over, like, that doesn't feel that good to me, especially in the spiritual community. So let's see what wants to come through here for the reading. All right. I saw that coming. The death card here. Sorry, the sun keeps coming in and going out. I'm just going to roll with it. The death card, the 2 of Wands, the 4 of Swords, the 8 of Wands, and the 4 of Pentacles. I am going to take this star card. Look at star and the sun. So those are very beautiful, courageous, and the world card. Those are beautiful, courageous, healing cards. This is what this reminds me of. So I'm just stick with me for a second here. This death card says, okay, change is happening right now in the world. Change, transformation, setting ourselves on a new course for adventure. All right. And this 2 of Wands in this deck says, I'm not interested in climbing the ladder of success anymore. I'm not interested in things being hierarchical, because this is like the mountain, right? This is the image of Capricorn, the billy goat, right? Climbing the mountain one step at a time, and that kind of life. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of this happening, the 4 of Pentacles and the 4 of Swords, which is being more connected to spirit. Lots of messages coming in that way. And this is really the healing journey. Okay, this is really the healing journey for the spiritual path. Now, whether that's the journey for mankind is sort of a open question right now. Like, do you think people are going to embrace technology to the degree that it serves mankind, or is it going to be the other way around where we kind of let technology run wild? I'm sure some of you have read, like I have, about AI, that if it, kind of gets if it gets into the internet in a certain way, it could really take over the world and like completely render human decision making or power moot, which is a scary thought. Now, Five of Cups, the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Wands, there's some really amazing things about the internet and about online. We would never have met if it wasn't for that. So there's some positives here when you've connected with people on YouTube or connected with content creators that have really helped you in your life or have helped you make some kind of decision, have informed you, have given you positive things to lean into in a very scattered and chaotic time versus any kind of fear mongering or content that is designed to make people feel small and inconsequential or like they don't have any power. All right, so Five of Cups, Page of Swords, Queen of Wands, Hanged Man, the Knight of Cups, and the Ten of Wands. This is about feeling overwhelmed, wanting something simpler. Ten of Swords, Six of Cups, there's a simpler, nostalgic time, and the King of Wands. So I am feeling there's kind of a mixed bag here, and it does seem like there's no clear cut way forward, and I feel like that is very, very Neptune conjunct Saturn. We are in this big synodic cycle right now of Neptune and Saturn connecting, squaring, and having a conversation with each other. That's what happens when two planets come into interaction with each other. That's what astrology shows us. Has sort of exudes this theme into humanity, but also we are aligning with it. That's the vibration of things. The conversation that Saturn and Neptune are having, we are in some ways aligned with that. And with any of the conversations with any of the planets, because it's all frequency, it's all energy and particles, and we are vibrating within the energetic signature of our time. For example, you as a free human being, there are things you can and cannot do based on your historical time period, right? If you were a woman born in the 1850s, you would not be a white male landowner and would not be able to vote in the United States. That didn't happen until early 1900s. So you would not have that as part of your repertoire of things I can do with my life or things I can do in my life. I did read somewhere that a woman was elected before women had the vote. I wish I could find that again. That was really interesting. So and also, before people went to college or whatever, like there was this kind of like, this is what's possible for you. And even being the most kind of outside the box person or the most advanced, incredible, creative human being, there are certain things in our history. You are a product of your time. Okay. And you are in many ways kind of, I don't want to say controlled. Wow. Now it's getting really dark. It's really interesting how this is happening. You are kind of allowed certain things. And, I think, okay, whatever. See, it's like I have no control over this kind of like sun coming in and out, and that's okay, right? It's okay. But I think Frank Zappa talked about freedom is freedom is something that we will feel we have until it becomes um too expensive, not for us, but in general. And then we're going to whip back the curtain and see the brick wall, right? Like it's been an illusion. And I feel like the Saturn Neptune conversation is kind of illustrating that to us. Neptune is what is illusion, and Saturn is about the rules. So what rules did you think were unassailable until they were just done away with? And this can be in your private life, in how you do relationships. I think a lot of this, because the Knight of Cups is here, like what were the things that were expectations that you had, that all of a sudden you're like, oh well, that, I guess that's not a thing. Like the most interesting way to look at this, well, not the most interesting, but one of the ways that illustrate this is I told you I belong to a bunch of different Facebook groups about dating, like after age 50 and things. I think it's fascinating. I think to see other people's experiences is really illuminating for me, as someone who works in the realm of people's relationships every day. And a lot of people will come online after being married for 10, 15, 20 years or whatever. And like the rules have changed. Wow, the rules have changed. And like, what are they now? And I feel like we're in a time period between now and I really think until 2027, for various astrological reasons, that there is this sense of like nebulousness around structure. Is there a structure or isn't there a structure? And are there things that we feel we can do, or oh wow, all of a sudden I realize I can't do that, or I can do that, but there's something changing fundamentally on the planet, in our society, in our social groups, in our families, in the way we do things, that says, oh yeah, now that's totally fine. I mean, I also I think that there was a time period when in my upbringing, I know my mother was of an older generation than most of my friends' parents, and a lot of my friends' parents dated in the 1950s. And what you did was you dated a lot of people all at the same time. When I went to high school, we were like monogamous because the rules had changed. The rules of engagement had changed. And the parents were always like, why aren't you dating more people? Why are you just blocking yourself off to this one person? And it's because intimacy became part of the deal. And that was the social construct, that you weren't going to date a whole bunch of people. You know what that means, right? Like you're dating a whole bunch of people. Woo. But you date one person and intimacy develops, and sex is involved, other things are involved that maybe weren't happening in the 50s. Maybe they were, I don't know. But like that was the construct. And so I feel like now what this is really saying to me is that we're deciding on what the rules and the constructs are going to be moving forward. There's some things that are going to leave that we'll be sad about. Okay, that we'll be sad about. But other things are going to be brought in that are going to be more freeing. All right, and a loosening up of some structures that have become too overwhelmingly heavy, like with this 10 of Wands here. And we're at the time period where I've been talking about dating, I'm talking about governments, I'm talking about all these different kinds of institutions that now we are reorganizing, coming up with new ways of looking at things. This is the Hanged Man, coming up with new ways of looking at things from a new direction, and recognizing that some of the things that we thought were true are not true at all. Some of the ways we believed we want to develop our lives or have in our lifetime may be fleeting. It may be a little bit kind of, what's the word, nostalgic, or kind of precious, that it's, you have a touching faith in humanity. And what are the things that we're really witnessing that are upending that? So this is really saying to me, because Six of Cups here is the nostalgia part, and the King of Wands, they're King and Queen of Wands here, actually, and the Ten of Wands. So there's something here that says, and I'm going to go right into relationship expression here, because I feel like um whenever I think you need to look at history, and look the history of how people interact and everything like that. There's a pendulum, right? It goes way out and then comes way back. You can see that in historical movements, political parties, movements, um, human mores, what is okay, what is not okay. Um, and all of that. Like, for example, divorce was not a thing, and everybody likes to be like, wow, what's wrong with y'all Gen Xers and millennials, y'all get divorced all the time. I'm like, yeah, because you didn't have the right to get divorced, so you were trapped. If something was bad was happening, that was tough, but then you got the right to do that, and then that changed everything. It wasn't that, oh, all those marriages that really worked back then. No, that's not really true. It just, it was no recourse. There was nothing else to do. And there was no way to get out of it, or there's no way to go in a direction that was healthier for you. Plenty of marriages were not very healthy. And so, what I'm seeing here is a swing in terms of kind of old fashioned romantic connection coming back in. And I feel like we've gotten to an ick stage in relationship. I mean, I'm telling you, like, sometimes when I look at those groups, there's a lot of ick in those groups, and like what people will accept, and what people do to each other, and what people, it's sort of like a race to the bottom for, like the least objectionable behavior, or the thing that, well, I've got to just, if I want to have children, or if I want to go in this direction, then I'm going to have to kind of just settle for something. And I just really feel like that's on its way out. Over the next couple of years, I feel like we're really going to move into a direction that's much more spiritually connected. We're going to move away from marriage as we have known it. And I've always known that Gen X is going to play a big role in this. Millennials are going to play a big role in this, because the ick factor is now kind of pretty high. And so there's a lot of loneliness. There's a lot of energy around that, but there's also a lot of real joy that comes from escaping long-term relationships that have been very toxic, to build one's own life and to have that level of freedom. I'm definitely one of those people. And so, where are we going here with this Knight of Cups? This feels to me like we're having this, I don't know if this is ick factor, but it's definitely like, okay, this is not working anymore. The Five of Cups and the Ten of Swords. Let's look at this from a new vantage point with that Hanged Man. And there's going to be some kind of conversation around this romantic connection and what people want. Like not getting back, because I don't know that we've ever had it on this level, because we are now marching into the age of Aquarius. We are talking about Saturn and Neptune. Neptune is like a dissolving of an old identity. So there may be a dissolution of the idea that, and this may exist for some of you and it may not exist for some of you, depending on your family belief system or whatever. There are plenty of families that still believe that being married is preferable. Okay. And there's plenty of families that believe that it doesn't matter. And there's plenty of families who have gone through the ringer in terms of marriage and are like, never again. Right? So there's all these kind of, differing opinions, differing experiences. And I feel like we are going to be moving toward a place where we're letting go of the old expectations, letting go of the old burdens, and largely what's responsible for this is twin flame. I know you didn't think I was going to take it there, but I am. What's responsible for this is, and I feel like the energy of twin flame had kind of gone to this far kind of elaborate kind of place, and the people who, what is happening now is like throw out that label and getting into something that is uplifting and joyful and healed and working. Okay. And I have long believed that the twin flame connection, or the chosen soulmate connection, is the paradigm shifting model, as something that is held up for us as a way of creating happiness and joy for ourselves, and what that looks like. I feel like we're going to go into a not traditional, because we're up a level, right? There's no such thing as going back in the age of Aquarius, especially. No such thing. Okay. We're up a level now. And so what is the thing that is going to be desirable? And as any of you who ever learned about evolution, certain traits that are not embraced by the collective get sifted out. And we are going in a direction that is going to be something more. Let's see. Let's ask the question. King and Queen of Wands here, definitely more creative. I've long felt that. King of Swords, more clear, better communication. Page of Cups, more ability to apologize, more joy, more fun, lightheartedness. Two of Cups, romantic energy coming back in. Four of Wands, that's a marriage card. So there's going to be different, maybe there's going to be different expectations, different ways of being in a courting kind of relationship, different ways of communicating, recognizing a healed person from not a healed person. If you're manifesting from a place of your wound, you're going to get your wound. Only from a healed place can you manifest a healed relationship. You cannot manifest a healed relationship from a wounded place. All right, so let's keep going. I want to dive deeper into this. We'll look at what we don't see coming. I'm going to really dive deeper into where we're going, okay? Because that's what this whole reading has been about. All right, link is below if you want to continue on. Pathfinders, let's just keep going. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.